It's level 4 lockdown, and remember to sanitize, to wash your hands, wear a mask and social distance. When a child refuses to go to school and starts behaving differently, they become withdrawn or violent, stops eating or gains weight, it's a result of bullying. The increase of cases of bullying in schools around the country has become so worrisome, and calls have been made to come up with policies that protect learners from any forms of harassment. As such, parents strive to send out their children to school, and they are worried about the safety of their children, especially around bullying. Bullying has been reported in various learning institutions in primary schools, high schools, and even in colleges. Earlier this year, a disheartening video of a Wadilove student being bullied by his colleagues for not wearing a mask went viral. Let's take a look. This incident shows that bullying is a major problem in our schools and is a problem far from over. Bullying has become a pandemic on its own. But the question is, what makes someone a bully? How are you targeted by bullies? And what can be done to end this behavior? This is Issues Pane-Nyaya, and today we want to take a closer look at bullying in schools, the causes and the effects. My name is Sokostina, and Siposihle Ndlovu is on sign language. Please note that the views expressed in this program are not those of ZTN or Zim Papers Group. And today, to join me in my discussion is Taungana Ndoro, the Director of Communications and Advocacy in the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, Fungai Gwiriri, Programs Director at Zizo Counseling Trust, and also Karen Chimuzi, a student at a local high school who is here to share her experience coping from the unfortunate incidences of bullying that took place at her school. And of course, on the phone, I have Tobekile Stole from Justice for Children, Bulawayo, who is their legal manager. Welcome to Issues Pane-Nyaya, and I want to start with you, Karen. Okay. And you're free to speak whichever language that makes you comfortable. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
And I call you brave. Can I call you a brave young lady?
Sure, ma'am.
So would you like to share with us what happened, your experience with being bullied or whatever happened at school?
Yeah, sure. So I think, first of all, I'll start by disclosing my status to you guys.
Okay.
I was born HIV positive.
Okay.
And then I was actually cyberbullied by my fellow school students.
So you had disclosed also to school?
No.
Okay.
It's like I met a girl at my facility where I collect my medical
results.
Yeah. And then she actually, it so happened that she went on social media, said all type of things, which actually traumatized me to some extent that I actually ended up defaulting my medication.
Okay.
And which actually results in sometimes committing suicide and school dropping out.
Okay, so yeah, you went to collect your results. Let's walk through this experience. So how did she know what your results were? And what was she doing there?
She was also collecting her own medical there.
Okay, so how did she know your results?
No, I was there to collect my pills.
Okay.
And then she was also collecting hers. We were not friends.
Okay.
So yeah, she started saying
so things. She disclosed your status and hid hers, obviously. She was projecting onto your situation.
Yes.
So this girl, was she cyberbullying from the same school? Where did you know, how did you know your name and etc. for her to start going online and cyberbullying you?
We're actually from the same school.
Okay.
But different classes.
Okay. And you didn't say anything about it?
No, I did not. No,
You didn't retaliate?
I did not. But it was actually hurtful to me.
Okay.
And I didn't disclose Kumba kuti that is what was happening to me. So I actually chose a way of just defaulting. And then
Why were you defaulting? You were now shy to go
I
and
was
collect.
actually shy to now go back and collect my medication there.
Okay, but how old were you when this happened?
I was around 9 years old.
9.
Yes. And I didn't know what this whole situation meant to me, being HIV positive. So I didn't take it light.
So the cyberbullying happened when you were how old?
10, 9, somewhere there.
You had
Primary.
access to phones by then?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that is a very intense conversation, and we'll come back and talk to you about it. And thank you so much for being brave to talk about it now. And I want to come to you, Taungana, to say this is what's happening in your schools.
Yes, we as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, we have got a very strong rebuttative policy against bullying.
Right.
Because we don't condone it whatsoever. We actually expect that in all our schools, we have got strict policies against bullying. As the ministry, we also have a very vibrant policies that we expect all our schools to implement through our provincial and district offices against bullying.
You can share with us what this policy says, like just give us snippets of what it says.
Obviously, as the policy would say that bullying is not tolerated at all at any school. And you need to define the sort of bullying, insulting, cyberbullying, kicking, peer pressures, which are maybe saying, we want you to go and do this on behalf of that, or some sort of mischief, to incite mischief, or it can be also bullying. So there are a number of facets that are there, which we say, look, each school can tailor-make its own policy from the master policy from the ministry, because you'll find that school environments are different from school to school. Some are co-ed schools, some are boys only, some are girls only, some have got only girls at upper 6 and form. So you have to make sure that the policy fits the school environment that you have, so that it becomes a very child-friendly and safe environment for all our learners.
You saw the video that we saw at Lewadi Love, and I'm sure it trended. Did it get to your office, this incident?
Of course, we did see that, and we were obviously disturbed because we don't train our learners to be like that. Obviously, something went wrong there. We instituted an investigation through our district and our provincial team, and remedial action was taken. Because as you can see from the video, they are assaulting the young boy because he's not putting on a mask.
But they are not putting on a mask.
So it's something else other than the mask issue. So these are underlying issues and anxieties and traumas, which could have been caused because of the prolonged absence to school caused by COVID-induced lockdowns, where we had schools closing for about 6 months. Then you have learners coming back to school. They have experienced misfortunes, family bereavements, certain traumas, anxieties. They're no longer the same students that left in March 2020. When they come in September 2020, they're a different person.
Acting out.
Yes, they're a different person.
But you know, there surely is no excuse for bullying. And I'm going to bring in Tobekile. How are you, Tobekile?
How are you, Satikina?
I'm very good. Long time. How is Bulawayo?
Bulawayo is good. We're doing well this side.
You are Justice for Children, and you are the lawyer that knows all this that happens to children. So what happens if I'm bullied? If my son is bullied, I come to you. What is the process, and how do you help a person?
Okay, so when we receive incidents or cases of bullying, firstly, obviously, we need to investigate the matter together with the police to make a case. You have to report the issue to, obviously, the school authority, and depending on the seriousness of the case, then you can involve the police.
How do you determine how something is serious or not?
Because because schools, as they have just mentioned, that the Ministry of Education, they have their policies in place. So before we swoop in with the arm of the law, the school usually deals with the matter according to their policies. And then once they have determined on the severity of the case, that's when, if it's reported to us, that's when we also involve the police. So we first allow the school to deal with the issue according to their policies, because as it's been spoken, there is a zero tolerance policy according to the Ministry of Education in the schools. So we are trusting that the schools are enforcing these policies within their schools.
Okay, so Karen, let me come to you, because you are the person who's lived this experience. So you were 9, 10 when you were bullied. So who did you tell, and how did you know at that age whether you were being bullied or not?
Actually started hearing people saying different type of things about me, calling me names and all.
So who did you tell?
I didn't tell anyone. So the thing is, the doctors from Pane-Nyaya hospital, they called home saying this child is missing a medication. It's been a while without asking, taking a medication. So what's going on? So my mom was like, you know what, you need to go there. And as your mother, I'm not even aware that you were not even taking your medication anymore. So I think you need to go to Pane-Nyaya and then talk to them, tell them what happened, since you don't want to tell me about you doing all those things. So I had to go there. Then I went through counseling sessions and then
we'll talk about the counseling sessions right after the break, because the in-betweens of what happened to her is why we want to address this issue of bullying. We'll be right back.
Generally, society has a tendency of shying away from tackling matters that disrupt the status quo. Instead, such discussions are either avoided. As a result, attitudes are created and truth reinvented. On this platform, we dare to venture into those territories. This is Issues Pane-Nyaya.
There are well-known risk factors of bullying that affect school children, and bullying creates an unconducive environment some of these people to academically excel. This is because of the trauma that comes with these experiences. At times, the children end up absconding school, like you heard from Karen. You don't go to school, you feel less, very victimized by others, and lost in your own world. We are in the second segment, and I'm of course going to talk to a professional counselor here on Issues Pane-Nyaya and find out what it is that you experience. Mr. Gwiriri, welcome to Issues. You have been walking this journey with Karen. Would you like to walk us through on some of the cases that you have dealt with in your office?
All right. Thank you so much. Like you said, and like what Mr. Ndoro said, that counseling, it's an important aspect when it comes to bullying, because we have seen that, like you said, that this is a pandemic as such, you know, because there's quite a lot that is happening in schools without some checks from the school authorities. And sometimes pupils are afraid even to come out in the open and say, this has happened to me. And I've got a number of cases that I had to sit down with pupils who are now it's manifesting in different aspects. Like she said that she no longer has the energy to go to school. And someone like in the boarding school, she doesn't have, or he doesn't have energy to wake up. And now the message comes, counselor, there's a student who is asleep at the hostel. Then I have to go and see or to meet the child. Now, upon interaction and discussion, then we begin to pick that there are issues of bullying that has been happened.
What makes a child a bully? I mean, when you then cancel, because you have to cancel the bullied and the bully. What causes children to be such horrible creatures to others?
There are quite a number of factors that leads to someone to become a bully, and it comes back to the family setup.
Right.
What's happening within the family? Are there any challenges that are happening within the family? Are the parents behaving well? Are they living in peace? Because we have seen that when the family is living in a hostile environment, this also will affect the child. And he or she might think that this is like kind of the lifestyle. Or because he doesn't have anyone, or she doesn't have anyone to talk to about what is happening. Now it comes through projection and projecting to other pupils now.
So what, they pick on someone who they envy, or what? Somebody, what makes you think because I'm unstable and my home is unstable, I'm going to pick on Karen?
The child is trying to tell someone that this is happening within my family.
Okay.
And we need help.
Okay.
So it comes out through his behavior.
So in Karen's situation, she was looking for a friend? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean in actual fact, when someone is just bullying in terms of physical bullying to other pupils.
They're trying to say something.
Yeah, they're trying to say, I'm not well mentally, because we are talking about mental health here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's mentally, there's something that's going on mentally, and their mental health is at risk. Tobekile, if I think, or when you said people assess, because regardless of how you view it, parents with bullied children always think this is severe. So where do they go if they want to make a police case? What is the procedure that they have to follow?
Okay. Hello?
Hi.
Am I clear now?
Yes, very.
Okay. If you have an issue with bullying, according to the law right now, there isn't a specific law that deals with bullying per se. But we have our criminal law where, as I was talking about earlier, depending on the severity of or the type of bullying that has occurred, and then you have different remedies depending on what has happened. So, for instance, if there has been a physical bullying where there has been kicking and, some physical force that has been put, and then someone has been beaten up, then you can go to the police and you can lay a charge for an assault. That's if it's physical bullying. And then if we have
cyber.
If it's cyber law at the moment, we don't, again, as I said, the law is not in place. We have a bill which is called the Cybercrime Security and Data Protection Bill. It's currently in the Parliament. And under the cyber bill, we just call it the cyber bill, you can file a charge for harassment. And, cyber harassment, you can go and file a charge for harassment. But the problem is, because it's still a bill, there's no actual law, so you can't go and file a charge at this present moment for cyber under the cybercrime bill at the moment, because it's still a bill, it's not a law. So at the moment we can use we've got the Telecommunications Act, which talks about not cyberbullying per se, but elements of bullying like stalking and over the phone.
Yeah, but those are adults things. And, let me speak to Tongana here, because this is your portfolio. In your regulations or in the policies that you've put, what are the punishment or sentencing for those children? Because surely you are breeding a psychopath. Okay, I'm not calling anyone a psychopath, but you know what I mean? What do they do? You go and report, victim friendly, you report, there's a case, they're expelled. Is that it?
Well, actually, our policies are more corrective than punitive.
Right.
Because there is always, as we are saying, as Mr. Gudero was saying, and as Towekila was saying, the underlying causes to why a learner becomes a bully. It's because perhaps they are coming from a family setup that is dysfunctional, and they are coming to exhibit that to another learner. So you need to first of all try and correct that and sit down with the learner. We've got a very robust and vibrant division called Learner Welfare, Special Needs and Psychological Services in our ministry. We've got psychologists at district and provincial offices, and then we've got guidance and counseling teams at our schools. This then engage those perpetrators and the victims too, to find out what really is the cause. Why are you breaking this laid down rule as it is, the way that you're doing it? Why are you bullying? You might find out that perhaps this person is an orphan or vulnerable child who is now thinking that it's okay for me to make others vulnerable just as I am, because probably they stay with a grandma or they stay with an abusive uncle or a stepdad, and therefore when they then come to school, they exhibit the same to those who are a bit more fragile, to show their power, the same power that is being exhibited at home.
But Tongana, there are people who are committing suicide.
Yes, we're aware of that.
And we are still sitting down and saying, no, it's because you're coming from a dysfunctional family, but they've caused death. At the point of someone dying and writing a suicide note, what happens?
Actually, what we do as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, we encourage our core teams for guidance and counseling, including our teachers and headmasters and responsible authorities, to identify cases of bullying. Because bullying can actually be very, covert. You can't really see it. But bullying will be taking place even during assembly.
Right.
It's a quiet place and it's only the headmaster who's speaking, but there's bullying that is ongoing. It may be bullying through eye contact, but as the teachers or those who are responsible, or the teacher on duty, should be able to identify that something is going on there.
Are our teachers trained enough to do that?
Yes, our teachers are trained. We've got core guidance and counseling teams, and all our teachers have got this staff development on a yearly basis. Those in the core teams, it's on a termly basis. So they are able to identify that there is bullying that is taking place at the year right now, but we can't see it. There's that learner, she's about to cry, something is happening. Someone is saying, you are going to give me your food. Suppose it's a boarding school, and she's not eating, right? Yeah, you're going to give me your food. And she's eating little by little, because that food has to go to someone else who's a bully. So it's our teachers and our staff members are all trained to ensure that they prevent bullying, such that it doesn't get to that level of suicide, losing a life. And
Karen spoke about suicide. You wanted to say something?
I just wanted to come in and say, but why is it that it's ministry? I know that there are guidance and counseling teachers within the school, and every teacher is capacitated to do that. But I think they have got many other duties to do and many roles to do, that they can, these issues to do with bullying can easily escape them until someone speaks out. But I have seen that with private schools, they have employed local counselors, a counselor who is within the school, who concentrate in terms of
Oh, no, that's
counseling.
not true, because I have an immediate family at a private school who was bullied. They did not see it until she broke down and told my sister that, Mom, this is what I'm going through. So we're not perfecting private schools. It's rampant at private schools. It's a culture. It's almost like an initiation ceremony for that. I want to talk to Karen. Karen, you said your mom then found out because she was called, and you went to Pari. So who did you talk to when you were in Pari?
I saw one of the counselors.
Okay. And you told them it was someone at school.
Yes.
So what happened when your mom now knew that it was someone from school? What then happened?
I was transferred from that school.
They just moved you?
Yeah, because the thing, like with, I've noticed with high schools, if someone is being bullied, you go to the reception, you told they had the principal or whoever. Usually they don't take that case seriously. They will tell you like, Mavan wakuru juonere. Munogonda kutorwa motokuvadzana, and then unless
especially if there's one who's wealthier than the other.
Yeah.
So in high school now, did you experience any bullying?
No.
You haven't. Why? Because you went through counseling and you were taught how to stand up for yourself?
Not even.
What happened?
At high school now, I think it's just because I'm a person anotaura. I'm not usually quiet. So, they're like, this is a no-go area.
Okay.
Yeah. But then if you're that person who's quiet and reserved, yeah. bullies, they would deal with you.
Tobekile, why would a child be moved instantly over someone else bullying them? Where's the justice for that child?
Okay. I think the issue that we are facing in our schools is that because some of the incidents go unattended for a long time, and they're not exposed until very late into the whole cycle of bullying. So we just opt for the easiest option, which is to get the child out of the school. So parents need to have that responsibility to pursue these matters. But I think what they're trying to do is to lessen maybe the trauma on the child, and then they remove this child from that environment. But again, I take it back to the responsibility of the school to ensure that this child is disciplined, because I know you don't want to hear about the whole the bully doing it because he has or she has issues. But at the same time, we have 2 children who are involved in this incident, and there's a reason, there's a root cause to all this. And so also disciplinary measures need to be taken on that child. But the one who's being bullied, another option is to keep them in the school and, make sure that it doesn't happen again. But I think people just want to lessen the trauma and just sweep the issue under the carpet and then move the child to another school.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean, Tangana, that if they move to another school, they will not arrive again and be a victim of being bullied. Fungai, does it mean that there's some kids that are just prone to bullying? Like, it will still follow you?
Because bullying, it has to do with power dynamics. So it's likely to happen at whatever school that you're going. Yeah. Because of power dynamics. So you can be bullied easily.
Well, Fungai says we can be bullied easily. We'll interrogate that further in our 3rd segment. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the final segment of Issues Pane-Nyaya, and we're talking about bullying in schools and the results and the effects of that. And we also reached out to Zimbabwe Republic Police to get a voice of the law enforcement custodians. Let's hear what the spokesman, Assistant Commissioner Pane-Nyaya, said about bullying.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police has received some reports of bullying at some schools throughout the country, and some of the reports have been investigated. On the other hand, some of the reports, we've had situations where the school authorities have said they want to handle them on their own. It's an internal issue, and we have allowed them to do so. But you also find that we've had cases where the victims have insisted, or their parents have insisted, that the law must take its course, and we've allowed the due process of the law to be followed. But we are equally concerned because some of the cases, they are being swept under the carpet. We believe the few cases recorded could be just the tip of the iceberg. So what is important is we need to educate these youngsters. We need to educate children that as they grow up, there is no need to be violent. There is no need to engage in acts of criminality, in acts of lawlessness. So it needs the parents, it needs the police, it needs the school authorities and the various stakeholders to ensure that the children, they are, oriented, they are taught so that they grow up as responsible citizens who shun violence.
Tobekile, you heard the Assistant Commissioner, and the law, in as much as it is jumbled up and it is not clear, do you think there should be specific laws that are made for kids and children under the age of 18, especially vis-a-vis cyberbullying, the criminalities that he highlighted, including causing someone to commit suicide?
Okay, thank you. The thing is, I think the laws are already in place. What is missing is the knowledge about the laws, because it may sound jumbled and because it's not specifically speaking about bullying, but more of the effects of bullying. So our criminal law is very effective. It has things in place, but obviously when we're dealing with children, we are talking about different sentencing when it comes to the crimes. But the crimes remain the same, whether they are committed by an adult or they're committed by a child. So what is different is just the sentencing or the disciplining of that child in regards to the crime that has been committed. Because when we're talking about bullying, we're talking about assault, which is there in our Criminal Law Act, and we're talking about criminal insult, which is also there in our Act, and inciting and assisting suicide. There's actually Section 50 in our criminal law, which talks about life imprisonment for someone who assists or incites suicide. So obviously when you're dealing with children, the child won't get life imprisonment, but they will may get a custodial sentence where they will have to serve time in a remand home or a juvenile prison.
Oh, there's actually juvenile prisons in Zimbabwe. I didn't know that.
Yes, we have like Wawa, it's in Midlands somewhere, where there's a section for juveniles. And even here in Bulawayo, we have Gray's prison, where there is a section for young offenders. And we have remand homes that are run by the Ministry of Department of Social Development, like Percy, Ibbeston, and other homes. I'm not sure in Harare. They're also there around the country. So this is where usually juvenile offenders are taken to. But that's, as I said earlier, it's about how the severity of the case. If you get to a point where you're now charged and found guilty of assault or criminal insult, then that's when you may be either get a fine or you'll be imprisoned. But children are only imprisoned as a last resort.
Of course, last resort. However, they all fall under criminal charges. Isn't that crazy? Everything they've done is called a criminality, but now we have to think twice because, like, everybody here is saying there are other factors at play that then encourage them or nudge them to be a criminal. But is that not it, Tongana? Everybody is a criminal because of their background.
No, not really. It also depends on the motivation when they're in a school system, right? If we've got a school system that is actually well intact, that follows the rules to the book, we'll breed leaders rather than those who are violent or rather than those who are criminals. So we also go back to the school leadership where we say, look, you need to have these systems in place to ensure that we bring up a wholesome learner, right, to send that whole learner into the society, rather than to have someone who's half-baked. He may be very intelligent, a straight-A student, but if he's a bully, where is he going to end up? Or where is she going to end up? So you need to build a full, complete learner who can be accepted in society.
So the new curriculum that is being rolled out or is being rolled out, is it cognizant of teaching life skills to kids in terms of bullying and other survival skills?
Yes, it is. In fact, what has, if you notice what has started is that we have abolished corporal punishment, because corporal punishment by its very nature
it worked for us.
It's inhuman, right? But we've abolished it.
Is it inhuman?
Yes. You can have other punishments that you can mete out to the learners without necessarily using the stick.
Like which one?
Like someone is playing with first team basketball and they have done some mischief, and then you tell them, look, you're going to miss the game against Watershed because
You withhold.
Of what you did. Yes, you withhold.
But doesn't that make them angrier?
No, it shows them that if they continue to do this, they're going to be excluded from certain benefits in society.
But don't they retaliate to the person who caused the withdrawal?
No, this is not just about bullying. Maybe it's any other mischief.
No, we want bullying. Because if I go and report and say Tangana was bullying me and his first team basketball, and he hears that, so Costina is the one who reported, you withdraw from one of the biggest games.
Of course, we obviously handle that together with our school administration. We call them, we establish the facts, what really transpired. Whenever there's bullying, there's usually cause and effect.
Right.
So what we're trying to establish is what are the causes? And then we deal with the effects. And then how do we move forward from there? Right.
How do we help a bully, Fungai? Not the bullied, because we are all going to reach out to the bullied. How do we help the bullies?
Okay. Like what he said, I think they also need to be engaged in terms of counseling, so that we see what's happening, what's leading him or her to act in such a way. Otherwise, if we don't sit down and have one-on-one talk therapy with the child, we are not going anywhere until we go to the root of what's making him or making her behave that way. So it's always important to engage, and for corrective, not like for punishment, like he said, but for corrective, to say, okay, so he or she has to understand and know that this kind of behavior is not tolerated. And remember, sometimes some parents, they don't have time to sit down with their kids and instill some values in them. So it is always important for other people now, we are having positions of authority, to sit down with such a child and try to bring sense into him or her.
Karen, are you helping other people? Can you identify someone being bullied? Can you tell from afar?
Yeah, you can.
And so what do? Are you a person who reaches out?
Yeah, at times.
But sometimes you don't want to get involved in Nyaya Zago.
Yeah, really. Because you find out it's yours. Yeah.
But can you see, Fungai, can you hear this, Tobekile, that even kids are afraid to say, reach out to someone to say, this is what's going on? What are the programs that Justice for Children is running to help young people that are going through such issues?
Justice for Children, what we do, we have awareness campaigns where we go into schools where we do talk about bullying and how the effects of bullying, what is bullying, and the repercussions of bullying. So it's not that we scare them, but we tell them the truth, as I was talking about, the criminal aspect of what bullying is. And it has worked to some extent because especially here in Bulawayo, we've got like the boys' schools, same-sex schools, especially the boys' schools. That's where there's a lot of bullying. So we do have these programs where pre-COVID, when we're allowed to go into schools and just raise awareness on bullying as a whole. And then we also help the survivors by referring them to counseling, as Mr. Gwiri did talk about counseling. And also we talk to the schools, the guidance counselors, and to make sure that the survivors are taken care of. And also at the same time, as I said, we are Justice for Children, both sides, the perpetrator and the survivor. So we also try and ensure that the bully is also assisted. As we keep saying, there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. So we need to ensure that they also receive some form of counseling. And then if the matter does go all the way to like the courts or to the police, we are there to support and to ensure that the matter does go according to the law. And yeah, we also work hand in hand with the schools where we advocate for a zero tolerance policy in regard towards bullying, and ensure that, when these cases arise, they are promptly dealt with and effective disciplinary measures are taken. So I think that's what we're doing. But I think it's more about raising awareness amongst the children themselves, so that they take responsibility for their own actions, and they know that with every action there's a consequence. So we really try and emphasize the criminal aspect of bullying.
Okay. As we round out, Fungai, what would you say to a family? Okay, let's first talk to the family of the bullied and the family of the bullied. They're all here. This is us, mother, father, and the bully. What would you do in that situation? How do you handle that situation?
Okay, so it's like bringing them together, as you said, but it's about now checking in terms of what could have led the child to do this or to act in this way, and also check within the family system in terms of how are the relationship, what the dynamics of their relationships in terms of mothers, father, parents, and children. They need to be established, and also even of the survivor. We also need to check, because I'm not really sure what could have been removing kind of that self-esteem in that child to be a target of being bullied.
You're now blaming the victim. Is that what you're doing?
Not blaming, but to check, because we are saying there are other behaviors that would draw a bully to come to you.
How? I'm minding my own business, Fungai. So now I have to, hey, hi, Babu. No. So you're saying someone, you're laughing. I know, Tobekile. Like, how are you, my behavior drawing someone to bully me? Is that a thing?
If you are someone who lacks self-esteem, who is not confident enough, yeah, you can be an easy target for bullies. And also, like I said,
but doesn't mean the bully has self-esteem and confidence. It might also mean the same for them. They lack self-esteem, and confidence.
But on most occasions, they feel that they have got confidence. That's why they're doing it. I can do it. I can approach him. I can punch on him. He will not do it. It's a behavior of someone who is confident in himself that I can do it.
No, it just means I was brought up right, does it not? Nay, Karen.
Yeah, I think it has issues to do with your background, where you're coming from. It's also to blame the parents.
For who?
Like for the bully.
Okay, and for the wait. Like you heard what he said. Were you not confident? And
I was, but sometimes it's actually natural hatred. Just like that. And then,
it was like unfortunate, because it's just something that happened within a system that is established, and which never said. She never did anything for her to be, because there are people who enjoy when they see other people suffering, or when they send out information.
Can you see? So you can't say it's somebody who has low self-esteem. But I digress. Tangana, let's close this. What are we going to do? What is the rigorous way forward of making sure we reduce this pandemic in its own?
The rigorous way forward, as I said earlier, is that we are going to continue to instill in all our schools that they should have a policy against bullying. And whenever anybody is inducted, whether it's Form 1 or Form 5 or Grade 1, they have to understand that bullying is absolutely not tolerated in all our schools. Once we catch them young at the primary and secondary school level, we then build a very good society where even the crime levels will go down.
So if a headmaster continuously has more numbers of bullying at their school, is it a reflection of them?
It's a reflection of lack of leadership on their part. And they would, if sometimes some of the headmasters are overwhelmed because they're doing a lot of things, but they can assign a senior teacher, they can assign a deputy head who is solely responsible for that. And those take it seriously, because our schools have got core teams for guidance and counseling. If they don't have the enough resources, they can approach our district offices or our provincial offices, and we'll send trained psychologists to assist them.
There you have it, a call for action to end bullying at schools. And the end is very collective for all stakeholders towards formulating policies, laws to protect children at school, harassment and bullying. So it's not just about the parents, it's everyone. Many people are involved in the upbringing of a child. It starts at home, it goes to school. The role of the family cannot be overlooked on issues like this, since the causes of bullying, as you heard, starts at home and then acted out at school. So parenting or siblings or anyone who brings them up at home has a huge part to play. Children flourish when parents and guardians nurture them and offer strategic help to control their emotions, their feelings, and their fears. Collaboration between parents, teachers, and all guardians can work wonders in the bid of ending bullying in schools. On another note, we have come to the end of Issues Pane-Nyaya, and I'd like to thank all my guests, including Tobekela, all the way in Bulawayo, Tawia from the Tongana from the ministry, Fungai from Zo, and of course Karen for her courage. And if you want to enjoy more of our programming like this, do like our page, ZTN Zimpapers Television Network on Facebook. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, ZTN. And of course, follow us on Twitter at ZTN News. Please do stay safe. And later on, please watch Andy Hodges at 6:30 on The Chase, talking about the SDG 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions. From me, Sokostina, and Siposihle Ndlovu on sign language, thank you to the crew behind the team, and have a good night and stay safe.